Hi there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 2948 of What's Shifting Now, where I document the journey, share the lessons that I've learned along the way, talk about what I'm working on, give a couple of little nuggets of advice when appropriate. Otherwise, I just ask questions a lot because I want feedback and I want to know what's going on. Well, today we are on day 56 of our challenge, both our Supersize challenges, Supersize You Annual Challenge and the Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge. And we're talking about confidence this whole month, confidence in every area and aspect of our life. And today's topic is confident pricing. Are we, and this applies to us either personally or with respect to our businesses. Even if you don't have a business, are you confidently providing service in the marketplace and for an exchange of value, aka your salary? And are you being paid what the job is worth? And I always say this because we are infinitely valuable as human beings in and of ourselves. Just the nature of being human makes us incredibly valuable, and you cannot put a price tag on a human life. But when it comes to trading our time for money or our job or negotiating a salary, I learned a long, long time ago, ask for what you really want and don't be the first one to share a number. I learned that very early on in my corporate days when it came to negotiating anything, and especially negotiating something that I wanted, which was usually a higher salary. And I was normally amazingly surprised at what was offered if I could just sit back and not open my mouth. I always made more when I didn't say anything. And I never was the first one to speak when it came to salary negotiations, because I learned that from my dad early on. Just go around it and make them say a number first. And then you'll see if they're even in the ballpark. And if they're not, bye, nice meeting you. Good luck with your organization. But I will be taking up residence in a different location and a different opportunity. So we're talking about confidently pricing. And I shared the story about my Italian food manufacturing and that I and my scarcity mentality and my pricing was based on what I thought people would pay. And I always wanted to keep it as low as humanly possible. Now, it was a B2B business. We sold to grocery stores and to bars and restaurants, etc. But that was me being the bottleneck in that particular business. I had it for 35 years, so I had a lot of experience underpricing, which, of course, always leads to clientele that are less than ideal for us. We could talk about that for a day, but I'm not going to talk about it here. Also sharing the super process or our super framework. It's our framework for this year for both of the challenges. And it's just a little acronym for super. And so the first day we talked about what do we want. The second day we talked about where are we right now. And then today we're talking about what's our plan for this? How are we going to make this happen? How are we going to fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be? And all we have to do is identify the first step. And we talked a little bit about that. And I shared Tammy's example and her going through this process for the Supersize You Annual Challenge. And then we shared John's story, and we'll do it for all 5 days of the process. And I'm going to do that. I started doing that last year. I asked somebody in my organizations if they would be willing to share their story and apply this process to something in their life. And I think it works out really, really well. I think people can relate to it more than just hearing my stories all the time. Although I do love to share my stories and my experiences because, like I say, they've been some of them good, some of them bad, some of them downright frickin' awful and ugly. Working on my pricing today, as a matter of fact. I am going to change my pricing in my Skool community. I've got 2 different tiers, and I think I'm going to keep the premium tier at what it's at, but I think I'm going to supersize the pricing of the VIP tier, or I'm going to or this, because what I might do is leave that alone, but then add a mastermind or a one-on-one coaching option that will be be in alignment with or in line with what's available in those packages through just a course in the classroom, where I might have individual courses set up or in the classroom for my one-on-one clients. So they each have their own place to go, their own experience. We can keep track of all of our conversations there, but nobody else has access to that but them. I just thought of that. I think that's an awesome idea. All right, that's it. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, go out, make it an awesome day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.